I'm going to lose your Facebook page. But Renee Vidor is coming to speak to us. She is Rachel Peterson's fault too. So, but I have no question that this girl is going to bring the heat and help us to leave here inspired and ready to act. So Renee, come and take the stage and help us wrap this day up. Thank you.
All right, I'm bringing the heat. Red hair, gotta bring the heat. But I don't have any heat unless I have an audience that is on fire. Are you on fire? All right. I want to ask you real quick. Theodore Roosevelt said that comparison is the thief of joy. Raise a hand if you believe. Right. A lot of hands in the room. What if I told you that I disagree? I don't believe that comparison is the thief of joy. And I'm going to share with you why. You get to make your own choice, but by the end of this session, I hope that you side with me. So when we have a thief, think of what happens. When we think of a thief, what do we do with our belongings? What do we do with our assets? Any ideas? What do you do? Lock. I saw right here, she's like, ooh, right? We do this, we hold on to it, don't we? We lock it up. We have a safe. And I even forgot, you know what? I'm not so big on the PowerPoint thing either, but let's go ahead and do it. Oh, this way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, today you're going to get to measure up, by the way. So comparison's a thief of joy. You see that safe right there? We go and we lock it up. How many of you want to have joy? That, I want to see every single hand raised, or else you shouldn't be here. I want joy, but I'm not going to have joy if I lock it up. So if comparison is a thief of joy, and it can be stolen from me, then what's going to happen? I am a victim. I don't want to be a victim. Do you? I don't want to be a victim. I want to have control over my joy. So the only way that I can have control over my joy is if I have control over comparison. So does anyone want to learn how to have control over comparison today? Yes. All right, let's do this. So here's what I'm going to tell you where we're going, okay? So you know that we're not going to be here the rest of the night. I want to keep you alive. I want you to be interactive. We're going to start with getting to know comparison better. When we think of comparison as an entity, it's going to help us be able to kind of like take it out of ourselves and hold it out here so that we can actually have control over it instead of it being in our minds. So we're going to think of it as an entity. Next, we're going to learn a 3-step method to help you take control over comparison so that when you leave here, number 3, you'll be prepared to run your race to win. And that is my mission, is for you all to run your race to win. That thing that each one of you came here for, that is part of your race, and you're to win it. So we're going to go ahead and start taking off the mask. I was so excited because there was this thing up here that I was going to write on. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just going to have you shout it out. But I was actually going to write those down because when you see them and you visualize it, I want to hear some of your masks. So start just shouting them out, and I'll repeat it. What are some of the things that you have on over your, okay, not face, okay? We're not talking about that thing. We're not talking about those kind of masks because I'm sorry, but I'm over those. But I'm talking about the masks that are over your mind, that you are allowing to cover you up. Masks such as like, you know, am I cool enough? You know, like I saw this person that was up on stage. Here, let me use me, okay? This would have been me many years ago. I would have seen, oh, my sweet friend Angelica. Girl, if she was up here, I'm just telling you, the way that she owned the stage, I would have been like, there ain't no way in heck I'm going up there. Like, there is no way. I'm going to hide behind the mask of fear because I don't want to be compared to her. Because if I am, there's no way I'm going to win. So I saw this as a competition, right? As a race that I want to win. And it wasn't my own race. Another thing, how about, oh gosh, Jenny Rice, she's not here still. She's up here and gosh, she is a health coach. Y'all notice how like good looking that girl is? I mean, seriously, I hope she gets to see this because, yeah, right? But I mean, she looked amazing. So if I'm comparing myself, I'm wearing these masks of intimidation. Intimidation. And somebody talked about that this weekend. Intimidation. I think it was her, actually. I look at things such as I'm hiding behind a mask of my personality. Who here kind of feels a little bit insecure because, I don't know if I belong here. You know, I'm shy. You know, like everyone else is so outgoing, I'm shy. Or, you know, I'm like super smart and everyone here is super creative and I don't have that juice. So what are some of the masks that you hide behind? And I want you to shout out, is it parenting? Is it money? Anyone comparing? Like you hear someone up on stage and they're like, oh my gosh, I make, you know, we got some people in the room that are making like $12,000 in revenue. Or I'm sorry, 12,000. Yeah, some people that too. But 12 million in revenue. And you hear that number, you're like, that's not me. So what are some of those masks that you're hiding behind? And I'm asking you to share them because I want you to be vulnerable. That is a tip I want you to write down. In order to take control over comparison, you got to start by being vulnerable. And that's just a freebie tip. So go ahead and let me know. Shout out some masks.
Not very profitable yet.
Not profitable yet.
Lack of experience.
Experience. Lack.
Family.
Family. And that relationships, right? Who else is brave?
Getting older.
Age, for sure, getting older.
I think money's definitely a big one.
Money is huge, absolutely, especially here in this room with entrepreneurs. It's huge.
Well, I hear six-figure income, and I'm like, I can barely understand those words.
Six-figure income, especially if you're starting, and I'm not saying you are, but if you're starting from nothing. But there are people in this room who are coming here to discover their thing. And if someone already has their thing, what about even like purpose? Like, oh, well, they know their purpose, so, you know, who am I? I must not be good enough. I must be stupid. Maybe you're told your whole life. I mean, we heard a couple people say that, you know, in school, their grades, they didn't achieve anything. We believe those lies. So let's go ahead and we're going to move forward. I wanted you to get to know each other in this room enough to know that, and even though some of you aren't quite as brave, and there I'm using comparison, but I'm using it to my benefit, so I'm just saying. But some of you aren't as brave to say something right now because it hurts. And that's okay. But start being vulnerable. Start discovering. So where does comparison control my thoughts? We just talked about some of these things. We talked about money. We didn't talk about like how much can you lift in the gym, right? We didn't talk about how good of a dancer you are, or we talked a little bit about relationships up there in the corner, but I mean friendships, like man, they have this whole group of friends and yet I don't have them. And it's so uncomfortable to me because I walk into a whole group of people. You know, I just got in here yesterday morning. Can you imagine if I was allowing comparison to rule my thoughts? If I walked in here, I would have been hiding. But you guys are all friendly and everything, and I choose to be outgoing. So therefore, you know, but not everyone is there. What about social media? Anyone here who is not on social media, who chooses not to be at all? Okay. There's some people I talk to who choose not to be on social media because comparison is such a huge aspect of their life. We've got people who have the nice homes, the nice swimming pools, where they live, the area that they live. So start get your juices thinking. What part of comparison is controlling your mind? What is stopping you as an entrepreneur? We've heard so many amazing speakers. We've heard people who are profitable. We've heard people who are creative. We've heard all these messages. And unfortunately, every conference I go to that I speak at especially, I recognize that people come up afterwards and say, you know what? I don't think I believe in myself enough because I'm comparing myself to other people. But guess what? It's not just other people. I'm comparing myself to expectations that I have of myself. Those are intangible. Those are things that you have no idea until you start to really break it down. So I want you to start thinking about where is comparison controlling your thoughts? And I'm going to share with you a little bit about me. I got to know a little bit about some of you this weekend. Looking forward to get to know you more. Here's a little bit of my story. And I'm just curious. Y'all okay with me being vulnerable? Is it okay if I go a little bit TMI?
Yes.
Okay. So that way, you know, it's okay, it's public and all that, but I just want to make sure that you're okay with this, so you're not feeling all awkward and like hiding your face or something. So my name is Renee, and I am a recovering comparaholic. You'll see up here, I was 21 when I got married to an amazing husband, Josh. We're still married. It's been, I don't know, like, it's over 18 years. You see that, oh, by the way, so I was 21. In that same year of life, we had a baby, built a house, and moved to a new city, and I also graduated college. Not all this in the same order. I think I graduated, yeah, anyway, not in the same order, but all of that in 1 year. What happened then was I became a stay-at-home mom. You'll see over here, there's 2 adorable little kiddos, Nathan and Ari. Oh, I miss them. I haven't seen them since Tuesday. But I'll tell you, and they're a lot taller. Nathan is actually 6'4" now. Ari's 5'3", I think. Oh, like 5'3"? I'm 5'6". But I'll tell you what, when I had all those things happen within a year, I lost my identity. Or so I thought. I didn't know who I was anymore. Here I was, I just had a 4-year degree. Psychology, I'm going at it. I'm so excited. I love what I was doing and where I was heading. And I love my children, but I have to be honest with you, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So what happened was I started to lose my identity because I wanted to be doing more. And then I felt guilty and had shame because shouldn't I just want to be home with my kids? I was blessed to be able to. My husband was at the time, he's okay with me saying it now, a workaholic and wasn't really home a whole lot. And so here I was, felt like a single mom with a paycheck. But I wanted to be making that paycheck. I wanted to be fulfilling more of that purpose. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like I see the women in the room. I mean, that is something that we often struggle with. We put all this guilt and shame, but it's not just the women. You have those dreams that you have, and you shove them under, and you lose your identity, or so you think. So here I am. Here's where we're going to get a little bit TMI, right? So I'm standing in this red shirt up in the right-hand corner. This is in Vegas. My husband and I went to Vegas in 2010. And I was so self-conscious because here I am with all of these, I'll say Vegasanites, I don't know. All these people, you all been to Vegas before? And you're walking the streets and it's like, if you have your head up, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't look as good as that person. Oh my gosh, that person's all plastic. But I definitely don't look as good as them. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable because I'm comparing myself in appearance to everybody else. That's how I felt. I felt like I didn't measure up. And yet, there's a little gleaming hope because guess what? In 2010, my husband didn't know, but I was about to hand him a card for our anniversary 3 weeks later that said, by the way, happy anniversary, I am getting breast implants. Cute little card, little circles pop up, just saying, it's kind of funny. But I did that, I said, because it was for him, for our anniversary present. But what was really going on? Me. I was so insecure. I was feeling so lost in who I was. I didn't know who I was when I looked in the mirror. I didn't feel pretty or anything like that. I really dealt with appearance issues. So there I was, so insecure. Now you'll see down there in the gray shirt, I got him, by the way. So I did go through with that. He got his present, whatever. But here's the thing. I wasn't happy up in this picture. The top right corner, the bottom left corner, I still wasn't happy. I wasn't. I felt very insecure still. They cost a lot of money, but they didn't buy me joy or happiness. I was still comparing myself to others. Maybe you've been there. You get what you think that you wanted, and you still don't feel like you measure up. There's always going to be entrepreneurs with more money. There's always going to be those people with their thing that are more successful or get more visibility. All of those things, when we compare ourselves to them, are going to leave us high and dry and feeling like yuck. So here we are. You see this picture of me with it's made up, and they did use Photoshop, Mike, by the way. They used Photoshop, but at the same time, it was for a pageant. So I went and I did this pageant that I didn't want to do, but I really felt like God was telling me to, and I didn't know why. Turns out it was because I realized I needed to learn how to speak on stage. Because when I went to that pageant, I had 30 seconds to be on stage, and I hyperventilated, fell over, and couldn't even say anything. So hey, here I am now. That was because of 2015 doing that pageant. But here's the thing too, I still had breast implants then, and I still didn't feel like I could measure up. I didn't place, by the way. That wasn't my thing, just saying. But in this next picture, you'll see where I'm standing like this. And this is because I found freedom. I found out what was causing me issues. It wasn't my appearance. It was my mind. And we heard a lot about that yesterday. I want you to make sure and take notes and go back through and remember everything that Jenny Ray was telling you about the psychology behind the brain and the beliefs, because that is so important. I won't go into it. You had that info. Dr. Caroline Leaf is someone who really taught me a lot about that. She's a you can tell, like, not neuropsychologist, a neurologist, something like that, who talks all about the brain. But I started learning from her and from other people. I went and I got counseling, and I started to learn who I really was. And that changed my whole life. So you'll see in this next picture here, up in the right-hand corner, I think it's my Facebook profile most of the time. It's because that is me truly free. You see, because I was free in that picture of my mind, but there was one thing left. In that picture, I still had breast implants. I still had them, and I was free. But then, turns out, I was in the middle of writing this book right here called Measuring Up How to Win in a World of Comparison, and Karen's totally right in her talk about how a book really makes a difference in your life. If you want to write a book, talk to her, because that was the process of helping me even learn more. Because guess what happened? While I was writing that book, I had the manuscript in, it was to the editor, and I received the edits back. But during that time, I got really sick. So sick. I was very active, very healthy, doing all the things, eating healthy, living the life, right? Like from the outside looking, like writing a book, have beautiful, amazing husband, kids, family. And then all of a sudden I go out for a run in February of 2019. I come back home and I fell on the floor with what I thought was exercise-induced asthma. Ouch. The person who has ADHD needs to be active in order to stay sane can no longer exercise, because every time I did, I got really sick. Things progressed. It got worse. I would go to walk, and all of a sudden, not every day, not all the time, but I would go to walk, and all of a sudden my feet wouldn't move. And I would just about fall on my face. I'm like, what is this? My hands hurt. My brain fog got so bad that I literally couldn't even have conversations. Then memory recall. I went to say someone's name, and I'd be like I could have said Vincent, and I couldn't get the words out. I'm like, neurologically, I was a mess. And here's the problem. I was a speaker. So to go on a stage, I canceled things. I had some pretty big things coming up. I had retreats, women's retreats, all this stuff, talking on comparison on my new book that was coming out. And yet, I couldn't do it. It was very disheartening. That right there was a risk of me losing my identity again, right? If my identity had been in my achievements and in my book. But I found out what I had. It's called breast implant illness. No judgment on anyone if you have breast implants or if you plan to get them or you're someone, you know people who do for sure. But definitely I share that part of my journey because if anyone has issues, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'm happy to share about that. But at the same time, I had to have them removed in order to get well, and not even with the guarantee that I'd get well. Had them removed, and within 2 days, things started to improve. Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness. Within 3 weeks after that, which 3 weeks is when I could finally raise my arms again, because before that, you'd walk around like this when you have any kind of surgery. I was on a stage of over 600 people, business leaders, and they asked me to share my story. And I realized I was so scared that after I had them removed, what if the method of me learning to win in a world of comparison didn't work? Like seriously, what if it didn't work? What if I had them removed and all of a sudden I'm so concerned about my appearance again? Then what? What if I'm a fraud? What if I'm an imposter? But that's not what happened. I really did win in a world of comparison. I realized that was the last mask. I shouldn't say the last because I'm still learning more, it's a journey. But that was an internal mask that was sewn into my body that I needed to have removed to know without a doubt that comparison had no more control over me because I know what to do with it. And I'm going to teach you what to do with it right now. Comparison roadblocks. You think of comparison in 3 different buckets, just to make it easy. Assets, we talked about money, we talked about health, we talked about our joy, we talk about things such as even relationships. That's an asset. That's something that belongs to you, or it should. Achievements. I was just talking at lunch with someone in this room about how important it is not to look at our achievements. because the achievements can go away. Achievements do not own you. However, achievements are things such as the alphabet soup after your name, those degrees that you wish you had. Achievements such as even sometimes having children, not having children, having, all of those things. I've achieved a level. Appearances, pretty simple, right? I told you my issue with appearances. That was my main roadblock there. Second would be achievements. Money doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I mean, it does. It needs to more, obviously, after hearing Angelica and some other people. Yeah, I'm working on that, I promise you. But the appearances, that was my issue. So I want you right now to write down, and if you don't understand them yet, that's okay. But if you have an inkling, write down in your notes, which roadblock of comparison is getting you most? Because it's helpful to know. Knowledge is power. If you have questions about that later, just let me know. So, which comparison roadblock do you trip on most often? So I picture that I'm on a finish line. Remember I said run your race to win? Me personally, I'm a person of faith. So I'm just going to tell you from my point of view, and you figure out your point of view. For me, that's the end of my life. That's when the Lord's like, hey, you know what? You're ready to go, and you get to be perfect. But for now, I'm very imperfect. So when I'm running my race to win, there's times where I got to take a bathroom break and step in a pit stop, right? What happens when I just stay over here? If I never get back on the race because I'm like, I don't know. What about those other runners? They're going faster. Then I'm running my race, and sometimes it's like, I've got these roadblocks where it's like, oh, but look next to me. Look, there's this woman, like, she's so amazing. I don't, oof. Instead of linking arms and collaborating, I compare myself to her, right? So that would be one of those roadblocks. And then there's the other kind of things that to get this metaphor and imagery going for you. Assets. I'm running my race. And I'm getting pretty close, but you know what? I haven't made anything like the other people around me. I don't want to die with $1 in my bank account. Actually, I do. I want to spend it all before I die. But that being said, you want to have that accumulated wealth is what we talk about. So what if that stops me and I don't finish my race and run it well? So picture in your life, what are some of those things? Picture that road for you. What is the end journey for you that you are running toward? I'm running toward living my life that people see Jesus through me. Just so you know, that's where I live. I want to have my life be a conduit. What's yours? Figure that out. You need to know. So that when you're running a race, you're running towards your why. And that you are running hard. And I don't mean hustle hard. I mean you're hard. I mean how you are called to run. So here comes a 3-method process. Weigh your cost. What is comparison costing you? Ask yourself. I'm going to throw something up here, but I want you to know you won't be able to read it. That's kind of for me. Maybe you can. Oh, maybe, I don't know why it actually come through. It's a pretty good PDF file. So comparison cost analysis table. This is in my book, so you can have access to it if you need it, let me know. But cost, time. Is it costing you time? Are you going to places that you don't need to go to because you're trying to measure up? That's costing you time. Are you spending time with people that you don't need to spend time with because you're trying to compare yourself to others? How about money? We all have that issue at times, right? Like, okay, well, I'm going to get that new car just because I want people to know, or that watch, or whatever. I'm going to shop at that store. I'm going to make sure that I'm luxury. I live at Terry's like, hey, it's like Christian Dior, Vidor. I'm like, he's like, you have a luxury brand, so I got a new luxury brand. I'm like, yay! But honestly, I like Goodwill, so I'm just saying, that's my jam. Opportunity. Friends, we talked about this too. Are you wasting opportunities? What about, Vince was just talking about the wealth of connection and how important it is to connect with people and to be curious and ask those questions. If you're comparing yourself to other people when you're in this room, you are going to feel intimidated. You're going to miss out on opportunities that you might have had to connect with somebody. If you're not willing to open up because you're too afraid that they're going to find out who you really are, you're going to miss out. Other things, relationships. Oh my gosh, I have some great friends I've met here. What if I didn't come because I was like, you know what, yeah, Rachel Peterson said, hey, you should go speak there, but I'm thinking, I don't know, like there might be people that are too far ahead of me, and they're better speakers than I am, or their content's better. My book isn't as good as them. And I didn't come, and I missed out on those relationships. Ouch. What is it costing you in your business, in your personal life? What is it costing you? Your dream? Your purpose? Write it down. Don't leave this room without knowing what comparison is costing you individually. Confidence. Ooh, that's another good one. I mean, costing you some confidence? I loved, and I don't think she's here, Liz Wilcox. Oh my gosh, that girl had confidence. She owned the stage, didn't she? She came up with an outfit that I just would never feel confident in. I wouldn't because it wasn't me, but she was being her. I come up with confidence with my water bottle because my water bottle is kind of like my security blanket because I like water all the time. So I have to go to the bathroom all the time. But you see, like we each have our confidence and it can be stolen from us because we are afraid and we're comparing ourselves to others. Like, well, what will someone think if I bring an ugly water bottle up, right? Or what will someone think if I come up in an outfit that's like Angelica looking so amazing and like, well, I don't want people to think that I'm like, you know, to this or to that. It goes both directions. Comparison is not just comparing yourself in a negative way, it's also comparing yourself in a quote unquote positive way. Now, is comparison bad? I told you it is, to me, actually not completely bad. But you have to weigh your cost. If it's costing you something negative, then it's bad. But I want you to use it to your benefit instead of your detriment. I'll give you some examples here. How you can use comparison to your benefit instead of your detriment. I'll read these off too. Some other costs that you might consider. Health. What does it do to your health? Are you staying up late because you're working too hard? Are you hustle culture? That's costing you your health. It's costing you your life. It's costing you years of your potential. Spiritual. Oh, this is fun. Oh my gosh, I've heard people say like, I'm not gonna pray in public because they pray better than I do. Okay, I'm just saying, if you've been to church, yeah, I saw some hands, right? If you've been to church, we're not willing to get closer to God because we're afraid of what other people will think. Come on. Freedom. Oh yeah, we have the freedom guy in here. So freedom, it's costing us freedom because we are so trapped. We're here trying to preserve our joy. We're here trying to preserve our image. We're trying to preserve, and we are in chains. It's wrapping us up. Reputation. You ever do things you're not proud of because you want to be accepted by others? That's a big cost, y'all. Like, that's a huge cost. All right, and there's plenty of other ones you can figure out for yourself. There are so many. So W, you just saw the W. Weigh your costs. Next, I want you to innovate your identity. We got to hear a little bit about identity earlier. Take everything that you heard and start to digest it. You're going to learn about identity in different ways. Now, who here would say that they know who they are? Just say yes if you do, and say no if you don't. Yes. Awesome. We hear yes and we hear no. That is typical of our world. We are in a very confusing world right now. We have messages coming at us from every different direction telling us who we should be. We're telling us that we should be there at that finish line already, that we should have written a book already, that we should have. And we heard Diana talking about shooting all over ourselves, and I actually wasn't here, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to go listen to that one because that is for real. We should do all these things, but friends, your identity is not wrapped around should. Your identity is wrapped around who you are. I heard earlier mentioning, asking what's part of your identity, right? I'm going to give you a couple tools to help you digest this, and we could never, in 40 minutes, ever get to the bottom of your identity. I want you to know, it's also not just a 1-hour coaching call. That is a lifelong journey. I am still innovating my identity, but you need to get to a point to where you know and you can say who you are. Who am I? Who am I? And that I can say now. And that's how I can stand up here and not stutter and hyperventilate and fall over. Because I know who I am. I know whose I am. One thing I want you to know, and write this down. Your identity, if you write down who you are and you're doing your inventory of your identity, if you write anything down that is a role, that is, I think it's next. Ooh, ooh. Battery go bye-bye? I don't know. There we go. That is a fake ID. Your identity is not a role. Your identity is not being a mother. Your identity is not being a child. Your identity is not your job. Your identity, if it can be taken away, it is not your identity. Your identity is not your bank account. Your identity is not whether or not you leave here today finding out what your thing is. And your identity is not whether or not you are accepted by others, if you're popular. Your identity is also not necessarily your gifts. But if it can be taken away from you, it is not part of your identity. Next, stolen. Your stolen ID. Anyone ever have their identities like fraud stolen? Okay, so some people in this room, and that's a big mess, right? Well, I felt like mine was kind of stolen from me when I had kids and got married and did all that stuff. Truth is, I gave it away, right? Like I gave it away, but it feels like a stolen ID. So when we have that stolen feeling, remember that it can never be stolen. It is still there. Our identity is still there. We just don't know who we are at the moment, and we need to find it. We need to figure out who we are. Mistaken ID. Any doppelgangers? You guys ever have like someone was like, okay, Derek, or is it Derek?
Yeah.
Yes, Derek?
Yeah,
Who's yours?
There's another Derek Frank, and he plays bass for Shania Twain and Gwen Stefani.
Oh my gosh.
People ask me for tickets for stuff.
So another person who has the same name, Derek Frank, and is a bass player for popular singers, and so he gets asked for tickets. And it feels a little weird, doesn't it? It's like, wait, that's not who I am.
Yeah, I get tagged on stuff.
Tagged on stuff? Oh my gosh.
And I'm a musician too. So.
As a musician, that is, yeah, it feels so close.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to get this whole thing, I'd go on vacation and like, are you Molly Ringwald? I'm like, what? Who is that? I mean, I had to go watch Breakfast Club because I think it came out when I was born or something. I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought it was really boring. It was like, they're sitting around the table. Sorry, you know, you guys who love it, but it's not my thing. Molly Ringwald? I don't know. Julianne Moore? Okay, so we both have red hair. Like, seriously, does that make me somebody else? No, because my identity is not my hair. Why? Because I shave it off? I'm still me. See where that goes? Our identity cannot be our brand. Because even that can go away. So, if you have a fake ID, a stolen ID, a mistaken ID, it's time to get those in alignment so you have your innovated identity. And once you have your innovated identity, what that looks like is it is the real you that allows you to be who you were created to be, and then and only then will you truly be able to go and do what you were designed to do, which is your, say it with me, thing. So you cannot do your thing until you know who you were created to be. At least you cannot do it well. So we need to figure out that identity and innovate it. So now, N, W-I-N, WIN is an acronym. Navigate your journey. Here's what I love about this, it's practical. Anyone else all about like practical things? And you're like, Renee, just shut up now. I don't really care about that whole like figuring out my cost. I really don't care about like my identity and all that, like who cares? I just want you to tell me how to get comparison off my back. But I'm telling you what, if we were to skip to this N, you would continue to think that you are able to stop comparing. And friends, you're never going to stop comparing. Comparing is actually a good thing. Comparing allows us to have light, because Thomas Edison, he continued to look at other people and other things and like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And we look at innovation of any type of things. We look at Disney, we look at, I mean, we heard from, oh my gosh, Imagineer, right? Like, they're comparing. They're looking at one idea and another and thinking, okay, which one's gonna be better here? So we need to use comparison to our benefit instead of our detriment. And here's one little navigation tip. Whenever we feel that comparison coming to us, when we feel like we're starting to be controlled by it, I want you to grab it. Grab that thought. Whatever it is. I want you to put it out in front of you. And I want you to look at it and say, I'm in control. You can't have me. because I know who I am. And I want you to take that, because friends, that's a feeling. That is not a fact. And we need to be having our facts straight, even when our feelings are lying to us. So when we have that comparison feeling, go back to the facts of your identity. Who are you? If you compare how you feel when you're being caught under the whole rung of comparison, then you're going to be able to navigate your journey. So navigating your journey. When you're running a race, what are some things that you need to consider? Hydration? What are some other things? Anyone run? Okay, the route that you go, the road. Yeah, the conditions of the road even. We need to make sure, like, are there bumps or all these different kind of things? Are there hurdles that we're gonna have to hop over? We need to look at the terrain, all these different things. So that is what navigating your journey is. Navigating your journey is looking at the road ahead and making sure that you are prepared. All right, I'm going to use an example again. Sometimes I'm like, hey, it's a little edgy, but if someone is struggling with pornography and they're comparing their relationship to something else that they've seen, and by statistics, many people in here have dealt with that, and it's ongoing in their life. If that's a comparison, then it's probably going to be best that you navigate your journey by not looking at those things, right? I mean, simple, right? So take those out of your life. For me, with the appearance issue that I was having, I had to navigate my journey by making sure that I took out all the fitness things that I was watching on Instagram. Because I was not at a point where I was able to healthily watch those and see those other beautiful people that were working out when I didn't feel pretty. I navigated my journey because at that time I didn't want to hand control over to comparison. What are the things in your life that you need to make sure you are paying attention to? It's going to be individual for each person, and it doesn't mean it's forever. Are there people that you need to unfollow? As an entrepreneur, are you following some gurus? And you're like, oh my gosh, my book will never have that many reviews, or my business will never be that good. And you're following these things. Unfollow. I give you permission. Are there people in your life that you are looking at Facebook or social media of any sort, and you're seeing their life pop up in your feed constantly, and you think every single time there's this little feeling, that feeling that comes, it's like uncomfortable? That feeling is a warning sign that you need to navigate your journey. Unfollow. Just, it doesn't unfriend. It's okay. Like, they won't know. It's okay. I give you permission. Just unfollow. I do it all the time. Don't worry, I haven't done to any of you. Just saying. Not yet. Just say not yet. Don't tick me off. No, I'm joking. So we need to navigate our journey. Do it well. Take the things that you have learned here, and instead of giving comparison control over your mind, claim control. Claim it for yourself because you are worth it. One piece of your identity is that you are worthy. You are here for a reason. You are here for a reason at this event and in this world, or else you would not be breathing. Part of your identity is that you are worthy. So we need to make sure that we are navigating our journey, winning. Some ways that you can navigate, I forgot I put that in there, see? That's how it goes. Look at the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why in your life. Write those down, and write down the different areas of life that you are comparing yourself to. You catch yourself. That will help you identify some of the things that you can start navigating. Serve. Oh my gosh. If you want to navigate your journey, start serving other people. Promise you that is going to help. That is so helpful because you start to get outside of yourself, and you start to see that other people are just like you. Prayer, meditation, gratitude journal. That's huge. Every single day, write something you're thankful for. You're going to compare less. Now, it will not solve your problem because if you don't know what it's costing you, and if you don't know who you are, you're going to keep going in that vicious cycle. Identity, know your identity and stop your negative self-talk. When you catch that thought, remember I said, take it, hold it, don't judge it, stop judging. Stop judging other people and stop judging yourself. Stop judging your self-talk. Be curious. Look at it and say, I'm going to choose to take control over that, and right now it's going out. It's going away from me. It's not in here anymore. I'm going to take it out because this physical thing, I'm telling you, do this. It's not woo. It's real. It really works. Press in, get to know people. If you feel intimidated by somebody, go talk to them, press into them, actually get to know them. You'll be less intimidated and you will start to let comparison lose its grip on you. Unfollow, avoid, unsubscribe, delete, remove, mute, do whatever you gotta do to make sure that you are not putting yourself in comparison's direct path. Surround yourself with people who want you to win. Look around the room, do you see anybody here who wants you to win? Before you leave, think, and if it's not someone in this room, think of someone who you can confide in, that you can be vulnerable with, that you can talk to about this, because that is going to help you the more you process. Reach out, press in. If you're looking for coaching, let me know. I'm happy to help you with this. This is huge. Find your people that want you to win. All right. After hearing this, and after seeing all the different aspects of comparison, is there anyone here who thinks maybe I'm a comparaholic too? Okay, we've got 2. And a bunch of liars. All right, a few of you. So if comparison has control of you in any way, any little way, go ahead and take this assessment. It does lead you, you can unsubscribe, it does lead you to a sequence where you're going to get some video tips that's going to be a little bit further help with that. And what I want you to know is that you were created to win. Nobody in here is a loser. Not at all. Follow this and it will help you win more often. But even when you do lose, you are not a loser. Own it. Because we are imperfect until that final day. All right, I want to do one last thing. If you want to navigate your journey, you can also start by reading. So I want a brave person. Who's somebody who would never be willing to come up here and speak? Who would feel so uncomfortable and they're just like, I could never do that. I could never come up on the stage. Okay, Terrence, are you willing to weigh the cost of comparison in your life?
Yes.
Is it worth it
Yes.
to let it go and take control?
Yes.
All right. Will you choose to embrace your identity of being worth it?
Yes.
Will you navigate your journey and come up and get your free book? All right. And you get to stand on the stage. I want you to hold it. Give it a round of applause. I'm going to stand for a picture. Were you able to identify something in your life that was costing you?
Yes.
Are you able to share? If not, it's okay. I'm not major pressure, just a little. That's totally fine. No, that's fine, guys. See, I want you to recognize that wherever you are on this journey, it is okay. He just took a huge step. And whatever that is, you are so much closer to winning it. So I'm proud of you. Thank you. So everyone here, I want you to take your step. Call to action. Whatever it is that your next action step is, do you need to weigh your cost? Do you need to figure out what that cost is? Because I want you to know that you're probably a comparaholic in some way, because most people are. Most people haven't taken control in every single aspect, including myself. I'm a continuing, recovering comparaholic because I'm constantly learning new aspects that I need to win over. Do you need to innovate your identity? Write it down. Do that. Learn who you were created to be. Do you need to navigate your journey more? You know who you are, but you keep just walking down and tripping over the road over and over and over because you think that comparison has control and you don't. Claim control. Take that next step, whatever it is. Be who you're created to be. Do what you're designed to do so you can win at life and make your impact in this world today. Thank you.